We're joined now from Capitol Hill by Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, who is a member of the Homeland Security Committee, among his other many assignments there in the United States Senate. Ron, it's good to have you back on America's Forum.
Well, JD, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, but I'm concerned because you take a look at the nearly $4 billion, and I guess the Appropriations Committee is going to meet on this tomorrow on the Senate side. This emergency supplemental sounds to me, Ron, like the president is loading this up to process the illegal children flooding the borders to get them sent around the heartland and do very little with border enforcement. Do you share my skepticism on that?
No, absolutely. JD, I'm an accountant by training, so you just look at the numbers. If you take $3.7 billion divided by 52,000 children, that's $71,000 per person. I've gone online. I've taken a look at on orbits and taken a look at what does it cost to fly people to El Salvador and Guatemala and Honduras, and you can have fares as low as $207. There's nonstop flights at $450. You take those numbers, and it costs somewhere between $11 million and $30 million to return people in a very humane fashion, and we can put them up in a hotel room and make sure they get a shower and feed them. And there's a far easier way of handling this, and also that would send the signal to the folks in Central America that you can't come into America and expect to stay. And that's been the problem all along. We've never secured the border, and I've always argued the best way to secure the border is to eliminate the incentives for illegal immigration. When we talk about a DREAM Act, that creates an incentive. When President Obama institutes his deferred action on childhood arrivals and basically telling kids, hey, you get here, we're not going to deport you, that creates an incentive. When we pass a Senate comprehensive immigration bill that promises $262 billion in welfare benefits to non-U.S. citizens, that creates an incentive. We have to stop doing that. We have to tell the world that we are going to secure our border. You're not going to get benefits when you come to America, and you're not going to be allowed to stay.
Ron, sounds to me like you're prepared to vote no on this supplemental appropriation. Is that in fact the case?
Yeah, I can't see how I can support this thing. $3.7 billion. There's no offset. Listen, this is a humanitarian crisis. We need to take care of it. But as I just told you, JD, I mean, what would one night in a nice hotel? What would be a really nice meal, and a flight back to their countries? The administration says they want to stop them at the border of Mexico. Okay, well, so a few days later they do an arduous journey, and now we have to say, well, this is a humanitarian crisis. We can't let them. We can't force them back into Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala. I mean, I just don't get the logic of that. And as long as we continue to accept people, as long as we don't send the signal that this is unacceptable, that you're not going to be able to stay, more people are going to come. We are creating incentives and inducements for people to enter the U.S. illegally, which is why we have 11 to 12 million people here illegally, because we're incentivizing them. We're welcoming them. And listen, JD, we're a nation of immigrants. I want to solve this problem, but that's how you solve it, is eliminate or dramatically reduce those incentives for illegal immigration.
Senator, let's switch gears in the 3 minutes we have left, because you were in court the other day, federal courtroom in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and the issue on the docket, Obamacare. Ron, what prompted you to sue the president over what we commonly call Obamacare?
Well, the Congress very explicitly wanted to put ourselves in the same position as every other American when we buy our insurance through the exchange. And President Obama, without the legal authority, granted us special treatment. We're the only people in America that when we buy our policies through the exchange, we get a tax-preferred, tax-free employer contribution. That's unfair. That's not equal treatment under the law. It needs to be overturned. And like I say, oh, by the way, President Obama didn't have the authority to do so. So, we argued before the court just the standing issue. That's the legal hurdle the administration is putting us through. They don't want to argue the merits of the case. They just want to dismiss the case out of hand because we don't have standing. But that's why President Obama shows such arrogance. For example, on the immigration issue, he said, "Oh, Congress isn't doing it, so I'm going to do this by myself, by presidential fiat, and Congress can just sue me." Well, he's so arrogant. He's showing such contempt because it is difficult for members of Congress to obtain standing, to challenge the president, get the judicial review. I think we got a good case. I'm optimistic.
Well, I know you're an accountant by trade, not a lawyer, but you were in court a couple of hours on Monday. You say you're optimistic. What gives you reason for optimism in this court case, Ron?
Well, just the way this this judge has given this case the serious consideration it deserves. He accepted 2 amicus briefs that make the larger constitutional issue of the separation of powers and how this president has really exceeded his legal authority. And then he asked for oral arguments. So this judge is taking the case very seriously. I know it's been called a stunt and frivolous and trivial. I think just the seriousness with which this judge is treating the case, I think, dispels those notions.
Ron, a minute 30 left. The Senate is called the world's most exclusive club. I don't know what you're hearing in the cloakroom or heading from the office over on the subway to vote, but privately, do some of your Democrat colleagues express concern about what you're calling the arrogance of this president and this kind of tone deafness in terms of issues heading into the midterm election?
Sure. Now, I think there's a frustration, on both sides of the aisle. Harry, we always talk about how very few amendments Republicans have had voted on under Harry Reid's dictatorial rule. It's only a handful. Democrats have only had 7 amendments voted on since July 2013. So this is, JD, in the world's greatest deliberative body. Democrats in the House, and you realize that's a total majority-run body. They've had more than 100 amendments voted on. So, Harry Reid has utterly shut down this place. The Senate is totally dysfunctional because of Harry Reid's dictatorial rule.
Well, Ron Johnson, you're a businessman by training. You're trying to get to work on behalf of the people of Wisconsin and the American nation at large. We thank you for your thoughts on stopping this influx of illegals, on your actions in court to stop Obamacare, and we look forward to visiting with you again real soon.
Have a great day, JD.
Ron Johnson, the junior senator of Wisconsin. Do you agree with him about how to deal with immigration? Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum.